Hello everyone, Andrew here, and wow, has it been a while since I have sat here and made a video. I figured it's been so long since I've done any of that stuff that we would come back with a pickup video. And of course, I've been super busy lately, so I haven't gotten out around too much to go searching at thrift stores and things like that, although I have done a bit. I've also gone to a swap meet since my last pickup video, and I've come across a few other odds and ends at places like flea markets, so I expect to see a few cool things in this video. The first pickup video in like forever. There's not a super massive amount, so it's not like some of my vacation videos, but there are a lot of things from a lot of different consoles. I think more than like 50% of it is boxed. There's a lot of boxed things here, and there's a lot of really cool things as well. So I hope that you enjoy seeing what I have picked up since my last pickup video. And to start off, we will start off the way I always like to start my pickup videos, when I pick up new NES games. As you can see here, only one new official gray one, and 3 of those crazy weird blue ones that are made by companies like Color Dreams and stuff. And the one real game that I have picked up since my last pickup video is Zombie Nation, which hilariously was a game that I saw on my vacation and I wasn't able to pick it up, but now I actually have it in my hands, and it is just one of the weirdest NES games ever. JonTron recently had a look at it actually. It is an absolutely bizarre game. Starting with the weird blue ones, we have King Neptune's Adventure. Of course, all the games now are pretty rare and pretty, not so easy to find. These 3 blue ones actually came from that swap meet that I recently went to. But yes, King Neptune's Adventure, very nice shape actually. We have Galactic Crusader, also quite nice shape. And this one is actually not new, although you're not going to be able to see it in the cabinet up there, although I believe I did have this in the pickup video way back when. I think it's been about a year now since I picked it up. Crystal Mines is actually a fairly uncommon NES game, and I only have it sealed brand new in the box. Now, I don't really have too much intention on opening any sealed NES games that I come across, especially ones that are quite rare, like Crystal Mines. So even though you might be able to see it's a little bit yellowed, I got it as part of a package with these 3, and since I did not have a loose copy to play it, I decided to grab it. The funny thing is, though, Crystal Mines is, I believe, almost exactly the same game, as I should always get these things out before I start making the video. Please let this be it. Yes, the beauties of having things in alphabetical order. Exodus and Crystal Mines, I believe, are the exact same game as Wisdom Tree like to do. They would just take other games and then slap some Bible graphics on them, and then yeah, Exodus and Crystal Mines are pretty much the exact same thing. So I didn't really need a loose copy of it, but I had the opportunity to grab one, so I did. And so it's technically not a new NES game, but since I only had it sealed, I'll consider it new for now anyway. And let's put Exodus over there. So yeah, those are 4 cool NES things that I got, and then kind of in an extension of the realm of NES games. People will know I love the play choice. It's been like 2 years now, I think, since almost. I think it was like January of like 2012. Or was it 2013? Yeah, it was 2013, meaning that 2015 January would be the 2-year anniversary of it. I made a video about my Play Choice arcade machine, and that thing is an absolute blast. So I actually recently made a trade on the computer for Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Play Choice. Of course, Super Mario Bros. 3, one of the greatest NES games ever. Who would not want that on their Play Choice? Now, let's not drop this. I will zoom in so everybody can see I'm not just holding up like golf or something like that. But there you go. Super Mario Bros. 3. So you plug that in there and it works just like all your other Play Choice games. And I'm going to probably do that right after this video. So I just got this actually. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make a video with it in it before I put it in the machine, because I'm probably never ever going to take it out after that. Now let's put that somewhere where it will not get, anything bad that may happen to it. But yes, that is it for the NES things. There's still lots of other Nintendo things, lots of things from lots of crazy consoles. And I'm just going to grab stuff here. I don't really have it in any kind of order. Next thing I picked up, this came from the swap meet that I recently went to. Hopefully it's turning up on the camera, the light's not working. It's a purple Game Boy player for the Nintendo GameCube, of course. And people will know in North America we were extremely boring and only got the black version. And I've always wanted a different color variant. Even that one that I have from Korea in the box, even though it advertises all these different colors on the back, it's still black. So I finally had a chance to pick up one that's a different color. And since my very original GameCube is purple, I decided to grab the purple one, which is really neat. The different colors will work on any region GameCube as long as you have the Game Boy Player disc that matches the region of your GameCube. So even though this wasn't released in North America, I can use it on my North American GameCube as long as I use the North American startup disc for the Game Boy Player. So that is super cool. These days I normally use my silver GameCube, because I think that the silver one looks absolutely awesome. So this would kind of look weird with that. I mean, I guess that's the thing about the black Game Boy Player. It kind of goes with all of them. Purple and like the orange one would be the weirdest combination. But I still think it's super cool to finally have my hands on a variant of the Game Boy Player, just because they don't pop up too often in North America. What else do we want to talk about? This right here, the next couple of things are things from thrift stores. These were swap meet pickups so far. And this is a Nintendo DSi. Now, it's funny, as I think back to when I very first started, collecting retro video games, like 7 years ago, or even more now, and going to thrift stores, and you would never see things like PS2, or Xbox, or GameCube. It was always things from before that time. And then they started popping up in stores. It's like, wow, people are starting to donate their PS2 stuff. It's not like it's that old. So now I guess we're kind of getting to that point as well, where we've moved up to the next step, where I'm seeing people donate Wii's and PS3s and things like Nintendo DSi's to the thrift store, which is kind of weird. I never had an original DSi. I did pick up a DSi XL, brand new, when they went on sale a couple of years ago, but I never had an original one. So I had the chance to pick up one of them from a thrift store, but yeah, someone donated it, which is just bizarre. It's like, I mean, I know it's they probably got the 3DS and figured they didn't want it anymore, but it's just funny. It's like, why wouldn't you trade it in? Why are you donating it to the thrift store? Not that I'm complaining. Thank you very much, because it's not in bad shape. It's a little bit rough around some of the edges, but still, I did not have an original DSi. That's actually kind of a lie. My sister had the special edition Edgeworth, Ace Attorney Investigations, Gyakuten Kenji DSi that only came out in Japan, and that's in the box and stuff, but I would never touch that because it's like super, super special edition. But this is now something that I can add to my collection, an original DSi. Also, all of these PS2 games came from the thrift store. I guess someone was like super into Gundam and then just one day they're like, you know what, I hate Gundam. I'm donating all of my Gundam games to the thrift store. So now, in my collection, I have Mobile Suit Gundam, Encounters in Space, or something like that. We have Mobile Suit Gundam, Journey to Jaburo, and we have Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeonic Front. Let's go with that one, Zeonic Front. The only thing I know about Gundam is that there is absolutely way too much Gundam. Like, I know there's like 5 billion different Gundam series out there, and I don't know much about any of them. I know like little bits and pieces about some of them, but like, I think these are all, there's like Gundam Seed and yeah, there's different ones like that. But I think these are all from the same series. I don't know how it works. I also know I go to things like Anime North. My friends will be like, every year at Anime North, it's my tradition to buy a Gundam, and then they go home and they build it. There's just so much Gundam stuff out there, so I really don't know where to begin with it. But otherwise, I mean, I did have a chance to pick these up, and they look like decent games. So I mean, I'm definitely not, trying to bash Gundam or anything like that. The fact that I haven't got to it in no way means that I don't think it's any good. Just that there's so much anime and so many video games out there that there's not enough time for all of them. So Gundam people out there, tell me what you think about the Gundam video games, and I may have to check those out. Also, in the PS2 department, we have Time Crisis Crisis Zone. It's a gun game, but not a Gundam game. And we have Silent Hill 2. I had Silent Hill 1, Silent Hill 4, The Room, not to be confused with the Alpha movie. And now I have Silent Hill 2, which is kind of, one of those crazy horror games. Horror games are interesting games, not games I've played too much of. I know there's a lot of kind of horror-y games out there. I may have to look into those one day. It's kind of, do a creepy thing where I play a horror game. That'd be very bizarre. Anyway, what else have we got here? Speaking of PlayStation 2, here's a Sega CD game. No, actually, I'm actually going to talk about that a little bit later. I don't know where PS2 and Sega CD come together there. So let us move on to some Atari 2600 stuff, actually. Now, this is very, very, very cool, and something that I actually didn't even know existed until I came across it. And I'm like, that is so cool, and I need to add that to my collection. What we have right here is Phaser Patrol, and it is a Supercharger game for the Atari, wow, that's not correct, for the Atari Video Computer System. And as you can see, it's kind of a big box here, because what this is this is actually an adapter. There's a game in here, but there's also an adapter that plugs into your Atari 2600, which then plugs into a cassette player, because the Supercharger games are actually on cassette tapes. So I'll open this up. I hate opening things up on videos because I'm going to like drop them or something like that. But for this one, I think I just need to show it, because there's probably not too many people out there who even know about this thing. So right here, we have the Supercharger system, and all this does is it plugs into your 2600, then you have this end here, which plugs into your cassette tape player. And then also in here, because this is it's the game, everything's in there, we have the cassette tape, which will then go into the cassette tape player that you plug the Supercharger into. I don't want to hold them up too much because I have a horrible track record of dropping things on the floor. But that's just super cool. It reminds me a lot of, put this down carefully, where I'm not going to break anything, I don't have anything on my lap, of the Aladdin deck enhancer for the NES, where you needed to have this peripheral that plugs into the NES, and then you still have to get games which plugged into it from there. That reminds me a lot of that. But yeah, that's what that is, and it is complete in the box. I think there was only 6 games for this. Number 1, right there, Phaser Patrol, which came included with the Supercharger itself. Then we have game number 2, Communist Mutants from Space. It sounds absolutely amazing. That's the craziest name, because you know they're communist and therefore instantly evil. We have Suicide Mission, game number 4. We have Dragon Stomper. What am I saying? Number 6. Sometimes you got the ye old fancy writing on the front. Always throws me off. And unfortunately, I don't have the box for this one, but we have number 3, which is Fireball. And yeah, that's just so cool. I never even knew that such a cassette adapter thing existed for the Atari 2600. So let's see, we have 1, 2, Fireball's number 3, 4 is Suicide Mission, and then 6 was Dragon Stomper. Number 5 is apparently Frogger, and that apparently goes for massive amounts for some reason. I don't know why this thing had to have Frogger. I mean, I guess it's probably a little bit better than the normal Atari 2600 Frogger, but since I don't have it, I haven't been able to do a comparison of them. But yeah, so apparently I think there was only 6 games for it, and I'm missing just that one, but that's crazy. And this was definitely something I wanted to share with people, because I never knew it existed. It's an absolutely bizarre peripheral, and it's just absolutely awesome. So if you ever hear of the Supercharger from Star Path for the Atari, I keep wanting to say Atario, I don't know why, for the Atari video computer system, that's what that is, and it's just such a bizarre peripheral that I had to make sure I picked it up and showed it on video, because that is really neat. So let's put those there to make sure none of them fall. And what do we want to move on to next? Not my paint. I have a story to go, not really a story to go along with my paint, but it goes along with another thing that I want to show here. I've shown the DSi. Let's move on to some boxed things. I guess technically a lot of those were boxed. We have Red Alarm for the Virtual Boy, and it's the Japanese version. I don't know why. Every once in a while I'll come across a boxed Virtual Boy game. I'm not really sure why, but then I love the Virtual Boy so much that I had to pick it up just because it was really cool. And that's, of course, all complete in there. What else do we have in the box? At the swap meet that I recently went to, people will know that I absolutely love Wario Land. And one of my goals recently has been to get back some of the video game boxes that I lost when I was a kid, unfortunately, because, parents and thinking that video game boxes are useless to keep around and they'll never have any kind of use. As a kid, I'm not even thinking in the value-wise, like I need to keep these video game boxes because someday they'll be worth money. I just always think, and still think, I don't just collect them because they're worth something, but that video game boxes are awesome. Usually, you have the big art on the front, and then, the crazy things that they say on the back, and the manuals. I kept all my manuals, thankfully. They were, flat, so they didn't take up massive amounts of room in my bedroom. But anyway, I have been trying to buy back the Wario Land boxes. So here we have Wario Land 4, which was actually Super Mario Land 3. And that's awesome. And I have Wario Land 4 here. Of course, one of my #1 favorite games of all time. They need to make more Wario Land games. No Super Mario New 5062. We need Wario Land 6048, along with Super Professor Egad. But that's a thing for Miles Luigi's Let's Plays, which if you haven't been watching, are going absolutely awesome right now. Actually, have I talked about that? No, I never talked about us. Recently, I guess I'll point it out here, because I didn't make a video about it. People may know I was playing Super Mario Sorry, I wasn't playing. I was joining in Luigi's Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga Let's Play. Well, he finished that, and we are now going through Mario and Luigi Partners in Time, which was the sequel. So if you want to see that, definitely check out his channel, because that is going super well so far, and I'm sure it will continue to go super well into the future. But yes, 2 new Wario Land games in the box, complete, which is absolutely awesome. And what else do we have in the box? We might as well move on to a Game & Watch, which I always seem to have luck picking up, although this one has seen better days. The box is a little bit damaged, but it is all in there. You open it up here, and we're going to pull it out very carefully, and you will see why. Because half of the styrofoam is actually missing. I actually have another Game & Watch in the box where half of the styrofoam is missing, and I'm not entirely sure why that happens. I mean, you'd think if you were careful enough to keep the box and things like that, that you wouldn't just be so rough and taking it out of the box that you somehow snap it in half. But inside of here we do have the Donkey Kong Jr. Game & Watch, and we even have the original instruction manual in the styrofoam under that. So Donkey Kong Jr. is a cool game. It was actually featured on Game & Watch Gallery 3 for the Game Boy / Game Boy Color. If you want to check it out without, of course, getting your hands on the actual Game & Watches. People have also linked me to crazy ways of playing Game & Watch games online, so you can probably find that. It's a great Game & Watch game, along with, the original Donkey Kong. There is, considering how basic they are, there really are some great Game & Watch games out there, and Donkey Kong Jr. is one I'm happy to add to my collection. There was another version of Donkey Kong Jr. which I do have, which is kind of a flip-up thing. It's really weird. I should have gotten it out to compare it, but I think I've shown that in my Game & Watch video, if you are interested in seeing that. But let me see here. What else we got? Put that off to the side. Just a couple more things, actually. On the line of me speaking about getting back boxes that I lost when I was a child, Bomberman Hero. It's so underrated. Like, I can't believe how underrated this game is. It is one of the best 3D platformers that I have ever played, in my opinion. I just love it, but there's a lot of people out there who are like, what is this craziness? It's not like any other Bomberman game you've ever played. A lot of Bomberman games are, you just walk along. I mean, people always think of, traditional Bomberman. You have to blow up these blocks and find the exit, kill the enemies, but this is like Super Mario 64 fused with Bomberman, and I think it just works so well. I really enjoy it. It has some great level design, some great music. I did a random game of the day of it a long time ago, and not too long ago I actually started playing through it again, just on my own, because it's so much fun. But it is a very great game, and this is actually the very last Nintendo 64 game that I bought new back in the day, or received as a gift or anything new back then, that my parents threw out, so I now have every single one of my old Nintendo 64 boxes back. And Bomberman Hero is a great game, so I mean, I shouldn't have kept it for last, but it's not the easiest box to come by. It's a cool game, and I recommend checking it out if you ever get the chance. Also here, we have Army Men Air Combat complete in the box, and I actually did not have this game at all, so not only is it a new box to add to my collection, but it is also a brand new game as well. And on the Japanese side of the N64, we have Mario Party 3 complete in the box. I love Japanese boxes, just like the box art. Japanese Nintendo 64 boxes are just really cool overall. And it's kind of funny because normally, if you compare Famicom boxes to NES boxes, or Super Famicom to Super Nintendo, usually the Japanese version of the box is smaller than the North American version, because, when it comes to North America, it has to be big, and just, bigger's better. So, I think it's really funny that the Japanese boxes for 64 are actually bigger than the North American ones. But yeah, I had Mario Party 1 complete in the box, Japanese version for 64, and Mario Party 2 loose, but I didn't have Mario Party 3 at all, so I saw this, and I love Mario Party 3 so much that I said, you know what, it is absolutely awesome, and I'm going to pick it up. I actually only paid $20 for this, which if you want the North American version of Mario Party 3 without the box, it's going for like 40 or something these days, maybe even more. Nintendo 64 games are getting insane. So I've always found it kind of funny, like, in some cases, the Japanese version of things is worth more, but when it comes to Nintendo 64 games, that doesn't always seem to be the case. And you can get a lot of Nintendo 64 games, the Japanese versions, for like half the price of the version of the North American one. And I understand that you can't read it, but Mario Party you can, even though you kind of need to read the descriptions of the mini games, you can still kind of figure it out. So if you're looking for Mario Party 3 and you really don't like the sound of the price that your local game shop is offering, look for the Japanese one online. And if you don't need to read it, you might just have just as much fun with that. I guess it might actually be kind of tricky. Would you like to buy a star, and if you don't know which one is yes and which one is no, it's not that hard to learn, what Japanese yes and what Japanese no look like. But still, just an idea. You would also have to kind of mod your 64 or get an adapter to let you play Japanese video games. But if you're just modding it yourself, just like the Super Nintendo, there's 2 tabs that when you put the game in, kind of stop it from going in. I'm sure there's instructions online for how to remove those from your 64. But just a thought. But yeah, that was a long story to go along with. Japanese Mario Party 3 is a cool thing. Also, one of the last things that I want to show here. Actually, let me move these things over here. Oh, I was supposed to show that. Okay. Also, since we're talking about Mario, before we get too off topic, when I showed the Mario 3 for Play Choice, I meant to also show this really cool Mario puzzle, Mario 3 puzzle that I found that came out back in 1990. I mean, it's not like, a super complicated puzzle or anything like that. I also just lost half the pieces, which is why I don't like opening things on camera. But still, it's a really cool puzzle. And I definitely had to pick that up, especially as, it's old, and Mario, therefore awesome. Also, let me pick up these pieces before I step on them. Let's see, which pieces did we drop? We have Luigi's head, and a note block, which is pretty cool. Have note blocks come back in the new Super Mario Brothers series? Yes, I think they were in New Super Mario Brothers 2. Yes, I believe they were. I don't know if they were in New Super Mario Brothers U or not. I am not sure, but let's put that off to the side where it will not fall. And the last kind of thing that I have picked up recently is a PlayStation mouse, complete in the box. And in the box, it even comes with this PlayStation mouse pad that it shows on the front, which is super neat. Not too many games use the PlayStation mouse, and definitely not too many that I have played, although I was looking through the list, and there are a few neat ones. Things like the RPG Maker for PS1 are compatible with the mouse, which is funny because I've seen the RPG Maker for PS1. I've always thought that'd be weird using it with a controller, because you can get RPG Maker on your PC and it'd probably be a million times easier. But being able to use the mouse with it makes a lot of sense. So it was something I didn't have, and it was complete in the box. So I definitely wanted to pick that up, and that kind of ties in with the final item that I have here, which is my paint for Sega CD. And the reason this kind of ties in with it is this is almost like Sega's call for Mario Paint. I know there was also that creative workshop that had Sonic in it, but my paint, Mario Paint, you look on the back, it's even like the exact same thing. It has stencils and stuff for you to color in, and that would be used with the Sega mouse, which I do have, but it's not somewhere where I can easily get it, so I can't show it. But yeah, that kind of ties in with the mouse, which is why I left it for when I talked about the mouse. But yes, have I forgotten anything here or here? No, I believe I have not. So that's pretty much everything that I have picked up recently. Although I did want to end this video talking a little bit about something that I did for my collection recently. And one of those things is I bought... No, I didn't buy Earthbound again, but you can probably tell by that glossiness there that I resealed it and I'm now claiming that I have a brand new Earthbound. No, that's not true. I bought one of those plastic box protectors for Earthbound, because I figured I should probably protect one of the most valuable things in my collection. And this came from, okay, it's a long name, but it's kind of easy to remember. I believe it's videogameboxprotectors.com. Just search that on Google, and I'm pretty sure that's what the name is, though. And yeah, you can buy plastic covers for pretty much anything. They make the ones for big box Super Nintendo games, they make them for NES box games, pretty much any kind of, Nintendo, any old video game kind of box. They'll make one for that specific size. They also make them for individual games. Now, I just received these like a couple days ago. So these ones aren't even out of the thing yet, but what they do is when they ship them to you, they come flat, and you have to pop them up yourselves. Because obviously, if you sent this thing, just the plastic cover, it would cost a lot more to ship than the way they do it. It's flat, and you just kind of pop it into place, and you can slip your game into it. So this is actually, in my hand, 25 NES-sized ones, so size for just the cartridge, not even actually the box. And they all kind of flatten out nicely, and they ship for rather cheap because of the way that they do it. And I bought those because I have all my NES games on the shelf here. I do want to make sure that, some of them are getting rare. Some of them are worth, like DuckTales 2 is like an over $100 game, and it's like in mint shape. So I figured I don't really want to, put them away where they're not going to be displayed, but at the same time I want to make sure that nothing accidentally happens to them, because I'm very careful with all of my things, but you never know when someone might accidentally bump into the shelf or something like that, so that's why I bought the protectors for those, just so that they can stay there. They're very thin, so they're not going to take up much room once I put them on the games, and I figured that would be a cool thing to pick up, so I'll probably put those on like right after I'm done this video. But if you're looking for something like that yourselves, yeah, it's videogameboxprotectors.com. And they pretty much have, protectors for almost anything that you could possibly collect in the video game world. Not so much console boxes, I don't think. Maybe. I don't know. But mainly the games is what they have. And also, the last thing I want to point out is what I have in my hand here. Now, it's been a dilemma for a while. I've talked about I don't know what I should be doing with my original Game Boy games, because I had them in these plastic tubs, but they always got messed up and disorganized. And then one day I realized that boxes like this, and what this is a card collecting box. So you could go to almost any hobby shop that sells collectible cards, like Pokemon cards, baseball cards, hockey cards, whatever kind of cards, and get a long box like this that you're supposed to line your cards up in. I decided to turn it... This is going to fall. This is going to fall. It's so bad. It's not too much of an angle. I decided to turn it into a Game Boy game holding box. And each one of these, if you line them up like I did, you get 12 per row, and you get 6 rows, so that's 72 games per one of these boxes, and I lined them up all in alphabetical order, and they look really, really, really nice. Of course, Game Boy games, unfortunately, on top don't say the names, but, you have the different colored ones, so you can kind of tell it, if you're looking for a clear game, or if you're looking for one of the ones that comes in a black cartridge, or, of course, the easy ones, like Pokemon Blue, you'll easily be able to point to, especially if they're in alphabetical order. This is actually a super cool way to organize your Game Boy games, and they take up like no room. Unlike the plastic tubs I was using before, these just slide nicely into a shelf, and they look absolutely awesome. So if you're looking for a way to organize your Game Boy games, yeah, it's 72 will fit per box, and the boxes cost, I think it was like $1.55. And that's $1.55 per long box. So definitely go to a card shop if you're looking at a way to organize your Game Boy games, and check that idea out. So yeah, I thought I would just share that with everyone. But yeah, with that said, this is the first pickup video in quite a while. I know it's not as much as in some of my previous ones, but hopefully, you thought some of the things that you saw here were pretty cool. I mean, you have everything from like Game & Watches, crazy Atari 2600 adapters, DSi, NES games, Super Nintendo games. Actually, no, there was no Super Nintendo games. I'm sorry, I lied. Nintendo 64 games. So lots of cool stuff, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed seeing that. I'm sorry that's been the first pickup video in quite a while. But yeah, hopefully it was still enjoyable nonetheless. So thank you very much for watching this. I hope that you enjoyed, and hope to see you next time for something different. So thanks, and see you later.